Let it be. Thank you, Phyllis. It was beautiful. Good morning. Welcome to Unity of Bloomington. To all of those that are here in person, joining us online, and joining us in the future, wherever that may be. Here at Unity of Bloomington, we know that energy is what we are and live as and in. Energy expands, contracts, moves, and connects. We humans are a part of the giant tidal wave of creative consciousness that is moving in with and through us. Today, we will honor this tidal wave of the conscious chaos of change, recognizing that plot twists, noise, and disruption are all a part of our world. And here too, in our sphere at Unity of Bloomington, we are in conscious transition, and it is natural to feel many ways about that. It is our collective intention to trust this process beyond our own individual limited seeing. We commit to stepping into our faith and belief that truth exists when we show up as our best selves with and for each other. We have an expert Unity speaker, Reverend Seigh, here, with deep knowledge and wide-ranging perspective on spiritual and organizational change, a shortened service, and a community discussion planned to allow us to be with our energy. Thank you for being here today. So let's stand and state with great intention our vision mission statement. Together, we are a heart-centered community seeking spiritual awakening and transformation by deepening our connections with God, self, and others. Our welcome song is "A Release."
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. Didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've gotta let it go. Let it all go. And this is what you have to say: I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Woohoo! Way to claim it. All right, while you're standing, let's go ahead and set our intention with our transition affirmation. Together, Unity of Bloomington is generating an abundant future in expansive alignment with Spirit. We lean deeply into truth principles, live our faith, and trust the process. Our greatest desire is to be abundant and attract those who value spiritual growth, including our next right minister. And now we'll have our musical inspiration from the music team.
One little boy in Africa, he put a face on AIDS, told his story to the world till he died. And these are the words he said. He said, do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can.
said, this is what I came here for. She said, do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can.
Thank you. I know all of you are as proud as I am of our music team. Wow. We got it going on. All right. Now for an introduction. Reverend Stephanie Seigh is a twice ordained minister through both Unity and Interfaith Ministries and is a professional certified coach. At one time, she was the National Director of Peacemaking and Transitional Services for Unity Worldwide Ministries. It was in this role that we first met Reverend Stephanie Seigh almost 15 years ago, as she assisted our community with transition efforts then. She has been an adjunct faculty member at the One Spirit Interfaith Community Seminary in New York City and a mentor coach for the Academy for Coaching Excellence. Specializing in personal, organizational, and leadership coaching and consulting, Reverend Stephanie also teaches classes and workshops on a variety of life-affirming topics. And she was last here with us when we first started this transition journey, September 18th of 2022. Big difference. Currently, Reverend Stephanie and her husband, Ken, live in Palmyra, Pennsylvania, where she is the minister at Unity of Palmyra. She loves all things Star Trek and Star Wars and believes in the future that Gene Roddenberry predicted decades ago. Quote, Star Trek was an attempt to say that humanity will reach maturity and wisdom on the day that it begins to not just tolerate, but take a special delight in differences in ideas and differences in life forms. It is my joy and pleasure to welcome Reverend Stephanie Seigh back to Unity of Bloomington.
So between the music and the Star Trek reference, if my mascara makes it through this service, it'll be a miracle. That was absolutely gorgeous. I warned the music team that Nikosi's song always makes me cry. And then, of course, anything Star Trek just inspires me so much. I have a whole series of Star Trek sermons. If you ever need me to fill in while someone's on sabbatical, just let me know. And I'll be happy to talk about that. But today, what I want to talk about is chaos. So when you saw the title, The Joy of Chaos, did your heart lift or sink? Right? We don't tend to think of chaos as a good thing. So I'm hoping by the time I'm done talking, that you will see it a little differently than maybe you have in the past. So I liken the power of chaos to cleaning out a closet. How many of you have ever cleaned out a closet? Okay, so this is just a little something else about me. I love cleaning out closets. I also love balancing my checkbook, so don't judge me. But there's something so gratifying about bringing order, right? I love that sense of bringing order. So when you clean out a closet, what's the first thing that you do? You take everything out. So the paradox of cleaning out a closet is, in order to create order, you must first create disorder. You must first create chaos, right? There's a great meme that I've seen on Facebook recently, where there's a woman sitting on her bedroom floor and she's surrounded by clothes and hangers and belts and scarves, and she has a glass of wine in her hand, and she says, "What have I done?" Right? So, years ago, I found a quote that I just loved, and it says, "Before the beginning of great brilliance, there must be chaos. Before a brilliant person begins something great, they must look foolish to the crowd." So how many of us are comfortable looking foolish? Yeah, well, except for my husband in the back. Yeah. When he directs a show, he says to his actors, to his cast, dare to be foolish, right? Don't be afraid of being foolish. Most of us are very uncomfortable looking foolish, looking like we don't know what we're doing, looking like we're disorganized. And yet, in order to create order and to move forward, we have to dare to be foolish. So chaos actually comes from the Greek, and we tend to think of it as disorder or unpredictability. But that's not the original meaning. The original meaning was primal emptiness or space. It was one of those words that, as of so many in our Christian tradition, that were misinterpreted, right? So chaos just means emptiness or space, which leads to an exploration of what's called chaos theory. So chaos theory comes from the fact that systems appear to be disordered, and yet the chaos theory is all about finding the underlying order in apparently random data. So again, it's back to cleaning out the closet. There is order in there somewhere. We just have to find it. So before great brilliance, let's reframe this, there must be a void. There must be an emptiness. We have to create the space. So in order to clean out that closet, we have to empty the closet and create a space. So many of us are very uncomfortable in that emptiness, right? In that void. Part of the human condition is, who likes certainty? Please, yes, seriously, guys. I mean, we like to know what's going to happen. We like to know that our actions are going to create the results that we want. Anyone ever take an action that didn't create the result that you wanted? Right? So when we're in that void, when we're in that primal space, in our humanness, we want to create certainty, and we want to create it quickly. right? So our tendency is to just make a decision or do something to relieve that sense of tension, right? Instead of being willing to simply be in that space. William Bridges wrote a great book called Transitions. And he calls one of the phases of transition disorientation. He has a real knack for understatement. He says, disorientation is meaningful, but it isn't enjoyable, right? Marilyn Ferguson says, and this is one of the quotes I'd sent out to y'all before I came, she says, it's like being in between trapezes. I'll give you a moment to visualize that, right? We're just hanging out there in nothingness. It's like Linus when his blanket is in the dryer. We have nothing to hold on to. So it's scary, and it's absolutely necessary. We have to allow that space, because it's in that space where we figure out who we really are. And that's what you all have been doing for the last 2 years. And you've been doing it beautifully. The processes that you've been going through, being willing to be in that unknowing, in that disorienting space, takes a great deal of courage and commitment. And you've been doing it. So you should feel very proud of yourselves, because figuring out who we are can be a little scary, because it also means that we have to figure out who we're not. So I'm a big fan of Jack Kornfield, and he has a book that I actually keep in my laundry room. You'll hear why. Because the title of the book is After the Ecstasy, the Laundry, right? It's kind of like after and before enlightenment, we chop wood and we carry water. And then after enlightenment, guess what we do? We chop wood and we carry water, right? So he says this. He says, the mystery of identity, of who am I, is one of humankind's central spiritual questions. Are we this body of flesh and blood? Is consciousness merely a product of our nervous system, our thoughts, our feelings? Are we our genetic heritage and ancestors' patterns, or is our essential nature more fundamentally spiritual? Are we a creation of consciousness itself, a spark of the divine, a reflection of the universal mind? This is the inquiry of mystics and sages. The question changes from, what am I going to be when I grow up? Some of us are still asking that question. It changes to, who am I going to be? In many native cultures, the ceremonies reflecting this stage of transition use masks and strange clothing or change in hair or body painting. It's like, the 60-year-old getting the first tattoo, to symbolize movement into the new identity. Clinging to our old identity at this time actually stands in the way of transformation. What would happen to the butterfly if the caterpillar refused to turn into goo and transform? This is the difference between translation and transformation. So in doing more research into chaos theory, I found a website called the Center for Change by Dr. Bill Smith. Interestingly, he's my hero for this reason. The whole website is devoted to managing change in a secondary school setting. Any of you who've ever worked in a secondary school setting will know how challenging that can be. So, yay, Dr. Bill Smith. So he says this, people generally agree that today's change is different. It's not generally connected to the past or indicative of the future. Today's change is discontinuous, requiring total flexibility. There seems to be very few cyclical trends or linear progressions. He continues by saying, past habits for addressing change simply won't work. Change must be recognized as a process, not an event. Isn't that interesting? Very few cyclical trends or linear progressions. Doesn't that sound chaotic? Right? So that can be scary. Or that can be liberating. One of the things we do really well in Unity is we've developed a skill set of reframing. So do we want it to be scary? Or do we want it to be liberating? We get to choose. So it's not the chaos itself, it's not the transition itself that causes the tension. It's how we look at it that causes the tension. So this can be seen as, and we talked about this 2 years ago, I remember at depth. In fact, I think one of you at one point said something to me like, if you say the word opportunity one more time. So of course I did, right? We can see it as bad, or we can see it as an opportunity, right? Or we can see it as an unveiling. I'm a big fan of Father Richard Rohr. Probably some of you follow him. I get his morning devotions. And he wrote this little piece, and it was actually during the pandemic, which of course was a time of incredible chaos and transition. He says, I'm convinced we're living in a time of unveiling, when reality is being revealed as it always has been and always will be. Systems of evil have become both more brazen and banal. Our sense of normal has been upended. And yet in the midst of it, God continues to invite us in to deeper, trusting love. A few weeks into the pandemic, some people even began to use the word apocalyptic to describe what was taking place. Often, this word is used to scare people into some kind of fearful, exclusive, or reactionary behavior. I think it's safe to say we saw some of that during the pandemic. All in expectation of the end times. But the word apocalyptic from the Greek really just means unveiling. How's that for a reframe? He says, when things are unveiled, we stop taking a whole lot of things for granted. That's what major events like the pandemic can do for us. They reframe reality in a radical way and offer us an invitation to greater depth and breadth and compassion if we trust the universal pattern, the wisdom of all times and all places, including the creation and evolution of the cosmos itself. We know that an ending is also the place for a new beginning. Death promises a new kind of life. So you all took a leap into the unknown 2 years ago, and I think it's safe to say that you've created new ways of being and doing together, and that unknown can also create tension. It can create stress. It can surface what has been, let's use Father Rohr's language, what has been previously veiled. And it can surface, it can unveil. So Dr. Armin Wanner is an expert on Freudian and Jungian psychology, and he says, we don't like sitting in the tension, either as individuals or as society. We want instant gratification. We want it to be easy. We want it to feel good. But tension doesn't feel good. How many of us are become inordinately annoyed when our Facebook doesn't instantly pop up, or when the printer doesn't instantly print? Right? You know, it wasn't that long ago that we would have to wait days or weeks for a letter to be delivered, right? But you have not responded to my text in 47 seconds, right? We don't like the tension. Pema Chodron says, there's a common misunderstanding among all the human beings who have ever been born on earth that the best way to live is to try to avoid pain and just try to get comfortable. You see this even in insects and animals and birds. All of us are the same. But a much more interesting, kind, and joyful approach to life is to begin to develop our curiosity, not caring whether the object of our curiosity is bitter or sweet. to lead a life that goes beyond pettiness and prejudice and always wanting to make sure that everything turns out on our own terms, i.e., that we always get our own way. To lead a more passionate, full, and delightful life than that, we must realize that we can endure a lot of pain and pleasure. Think about that, enduring pleasure. Oh no. For the sake of finding out who we are and what this world is, how we tick, how our world ticks, how the whole thing just is. If we are committed to comfort at any cost, as soon as we come up against the least edge of pain, we're going to run. We'll never know what's beyond that particular barrier or wall or fearful thing. I just love that a Buddhist nun says, ticks. So we don't like the not knowing. We don't like the chaos. Back to William Bridges in Transitions, he says, chaos is not a mess. It's a primal state of pure energy to which the person returns for every true new beginning. It's only from the perspective of the old form that chaos looks fearful. From any other perspective, it looks like life itself, as yet unshaped by purpose and identification. So think of chaos as pure energy. There's actually a Star Trek episode that talks about chaos. Chaos is, but I'll spare you that. If you have time after the meeting, we could talk about it. So this reminds me of a lot of Deepak Chopra's work is about that energy of chaos. He calls it pure potentiality. Right? Carolyn Mesa says, chaos is the classic precursor to transformation. And remember Genesis? Y'all remember Genesis from the Bible? Please say yes, you remember Genesis from the Bible. God created the heavens and the earth from the darkness, which again, when translated correctly, is God created the heavens and the earth from the void, the field of pure energy. So during a time of chaos, we're figuring out who we are, but we're also unlearning who we're not. And we're unlearning what no longer serves us. I remember toward the end of the pandemic, and there, a whole lot of folks were talking about, oh, we just want to return to normal. And then there were some of us that said, but normal wasn't working, right? Notice that normal didn't work. Normal served, the good old days served a very tiny population. How about if we let go of what we think of as normal and be willing to create something new out of the chaos of the pandemic and out of the chaos of how the pandemic was or wasn't handled? So in that place of chaos, our natural human condition is to think that there's something that needs to be fixed. I can fix this, right? Who likes fixing things? Who thinks their way is the best way to fix something? Thank you, honey, for raising your hand back there. We joke with Pop-Up that there's Ken's way and there's the wrong way, right? But transition and chaos isn't about fixing anything. It's about acknowledging that maybe the way we've approached it isn't working anymore. I know I love to figure out when something's wrong. I go to the manual, I read the manual, I figure if I do A and B, then C will happen. That's not life. When we're in the chaos, if we're trying to fix something, we're missing the point and we're missing the lesson. The old way, if I just have more information, I can make this better. Doesn't information feel like power? Right? If we just know more, we can make this right. We can release the tension. But that's the opposite of what needs to happen in chaos and in a powerful time of transition. We don't need more information, we need less. We don't need to control more, we need to control less. We need to surrender to the process. Everybody turn around. Over the coffee, what does that say? Trust the process. If we're feeling a need to control the process, are we trusting it? No. That would be no. Thank you. Right? So back to Pema from a different book. Love Pema Chodron, in case you haven't noticed. She wrote this great book called Taking the Leap, Freeing Ourselves from Old Habits and Fears. So right there, you know we're in between trapezes. She says, taking the leap involves making a commitment to ourselves and to the earth itself. Making a commitment to let go of old grudges, to not avoid people and situations and emotions that make us feel uneasy. How many of us avoid those things? Yeah, it's okay. Not avoiding them is a learned process. It's not human. To not cling to our fears, our closed-mindedness, our hard-heartedness, or our hesitation. Now is the time to develop trust in our basic goodness and the basic goodness of our sisters and brothers on this earth. A time to develop confidence in our ability to drop our old ways of staying stuck and to choose wisely. Now more than ever, we are all in this together. So I want to finish with Father Rohr. He says, holding that tension that we've been talking about, with humility and patience, leads us to wisdom instead of easy answers. I love Father Richard, which largely create opinionated and smug people instead of wise people. We surely need wise people now who hold their truth humbly and patiently. So before a brilliant person begins something great, they must look foolish to the crowd. So I want to acknowledge you for being willing to be in that place of tension for the last 2 years. Real transformation is work, and it's courageous work. It's a shift from fear to faith, from separation to oneness, and from illusion to truth. And you've done that work. Well done, Unity of Bloomington. Give yourselves a great big round of applause. So, just a titch more from Bridges. When we are willing to sit in the void amidst the chaos and the tension of not knowing, only when we are willing to sit with the discomfort are we ready to move into a new beginning. Only when we are willing to stretch beyond what we knew and who we were are we ready to begin again. You are ready to begin again. You are ready to be the blessing to the world that you've come to be. Let's take that into meditation. So I invite you to take a nice big deep breath. And if you're comfortable, close your eyes very gently. On your next breath, I invite you to breathe into your heart space. Focus on this space. And with every breath, feel it warm, feel it expand, feel it glow. This space of compassion, of wisdom, of love, of strength, of courage. We center ourselves in this space. And as we continue to breathe mindfully, consciously, aware of the breath that we tend to take for granted, we notice that there is a space between each breath. Between each inhale and each exhale, there is a space. Are we willing to become curious about this space? This tiny place of emptiness, of infinite potentiality. The Tao Te Ching speaks of this space. 30 spokes converge on a single hub, but it is in the space where there is nothing that the usefulness of the cart lies. Clay is molded to make a pot, but it is in the space where there is nothing that the usefulness of the clay pot lies. Cut out doors and windows to make a room, but it is in the spaces where there is nothing that the usefulness of the room lies. Therefore, benefit may be derived from something, but it is in nothing that we find usefulness. And so we breathe into that space between breaths, into that space of possibility and potential. And we allow ourselves to rest in the emptiness, to clear our minds of shouldas and couldas and would'ves, to let go of the past, to release the future, to be exquisitely present in the emptiness. And there discern where our usefulness lies. There we discern, how are we? How are each one of us to to be that blessing to the world, to do what we can with what we have, with the time we have. With who we are.
Wow, thank you. Thank you, Reverend Seigh. Thank you to our community. Just so proud of everyone. All right, we prepare now to show our gratitude for what we continue to receive. There are several ways that you can contribute to Unity of Bloomington. Checks or cash are always welcome, of course. Or you can use the text to give button on the screen or the donate button on the website. And inside your bulletin, there's plenty of QR codes. As the offering bags are passed, you may want to bless the bags and their contents. If you're new to us, please feel free to just fill out the blue form. They're the visitor forms in the pocket in the chair in front of you with your first impressions. We value highly your site. Prayer request forms are also available in the pocket, and both of these forms may be dropped into the offering bag as it's passed. Will the greeters please come forward? And together we will say our abundance affirmation. I am an abundant being in an abundant universe. I am not dependent on people or situations for my good. God is the source of my supply. I always have something to give, and I consistently give it. I expect the best, I do my best, and I now attract the best in every experience.
Lately I've been noticing how much I've been blessed with people to love and peace of mind, happiness. It makes me want to pass along this love I've received as a way of giving thanks for what's been given to me. I've got a strong heart. I've got a strong love, and I'm ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. I'm ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. I used to have a lust for more that bordered on greed, till I looked around and found that I had more than I need. I thought I had to have it all before I could share, till I realized what's mine to give has always been there. I've got a strong heart. I've got a strong love, and I'm ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. Ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. I may not make a difference that the whole world could see, but if I can show more kindness, that's what matters to me. I'm changing on the outside, finding gray in my hair, but the difference on the inside is I really don't care. I'm losing my desire to be what I'm not, and I've got what I want now that I want what I've got. I've got a strong heart. I've got a strong love, and I'm ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. I'm ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. We're ready to use the gifts we've been given to make this world a better place to live in.
Aww. Thank you. Will the greeters please come forward as we speak our offering blessing? Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. Thank you. Today we have several announcements. After the peace song, please take a minute, pick up a few finger foods, and then take a seat for a conversation with Reverend Stephanie about who we are as a community, what we want to see, how to get there in our in-between transition time, and any concerns, questions, anything we need to process whatsoever. Let's do that together. Reverend Stephanie will answer questions and help us understand our feelings so that we can move forward. For volunteers, during the summer, please consider filling some of our volunteer spots as a greeter on the music team, providing food for social hour, and especially for childcare helpers. If you can help in any of these spots, I would really appreciate knowing that. Just see me. Reverend Manasseh Gaban will be with us the weekend of June 14th through the 16th. We will have many things going on. The search team has been busy to put them together. We'll have an ice cream social planned on Friday night at 7. Her workshop will be on that Saturday from 1 to 3, and childcare will be provided for that. She will speak at the Sunday morning service, and there will be a potluck so that we can all commune together after the service. So please plan to attend the entire weekend. And then on Monday, June 17th, the board and the search team will hold a combined meeting beginning at 6 p.m. You are invited to come to express your opinions and comments regarding Reverend Manasseh. The board and the search team will then go into a closed session to determine how we move forward in our minister search. Your opinions are really important, so please plan on attending. All right. So I know the kids are out there. So let's stand and say the prayer for protection, and then we'll move into the peace song. So prayer for protection together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. So now let's gather into a circle and sing "Let There Be Peace on Earth" with our children.